pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How do you do these chairs?
Yeah, we got
Be
it.
careful.
Yeah, it takes off when it doesn't have brakes.
I guess
Yeah.
put a carpet underneath here. Much better.
Good evening, all.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Here.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yeah.
Councilman Wareheim.
Here.
Councilwoman Noack.
Here.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Here.
Good evening, all. We have two public hearings tonight. The first one is to consider a zoning petition by Samir Mustafa to change the zone from quarter-acre residential to neighborhood business with property located on the northeast corner of New Highway and Comac Road, Comac. Someone here on behalf of the client?
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor. My name is John Breslin. I'm an attorney with offices at 44 Elm Street in Huntington. I'm representing the applicant, Dr. Mustafa. This is an application to rezone this property, which is situated, as you mentioned, at the corner of New Highway and Comac Road. This property is zoned residential. We're seeking to rezone it to PB zoning. We've had a hearing before the Planning Department. The Planning Department, we had significant input back and forth between the Planning Department. They had recommended this rezoning to professional business. This property, as you know, is on an intersection of two very busy streets. The intention is to utilize it as an office building for professional use. It was very difficult to be used as residential given the location across the street from a gas station on this very, very busy street. At this particular intersection, across the street is a gas station. Comac Road at this end is at this particular location. From the subject, as you move north, is a marginal road. Across the street is the town of Huntington. It's a library district. Comac Road is a divided highway at this point. We believe that this is not an appropriate residential location along this section of Comac Road. The marginal road doesn't exist in front of the subject property. It directly faces on Comac and on New Highway. We think the transition use of the PB zoning is something that's appropriate, and I believe planning agreed with us, and that's why they recommended this rezoning. It's a former residential structure that would be utilized. There's no plans to change the structure. The physical appearance of the structure would remain the same. Of course, there will be a parking lot that would satisfy the needs of the users of the facility, and our intention is to use it for an office space. There'll be a buffer separating the commercial utilization and the nearest residence that would be on the easterly side. Be happy to answer any questions if there are any from members of the board.
Anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? Town board? If not, I'll move to close the hearing.
Second.
Thank you.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. The town board to consider for the second public hearing, town board to consider zoning petition by Carmack's Auto Superstore for a change of zone from light industry and quarter-acre zoning to wholesale services industry for property located on northwest corner of Middle Country Road, Montclair Avenue, and St. James.
Good evening, Mr. Vecchio, members of the town board. My name is J. Timothy Shea Jr. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Sir Tillman Ballin, 100 Motor Parkway, Hauppauge, New York, representing the applicant. I am joined here tonight by Keith Henderson of CarMax, Jake Hertz of Centerpoint Solutions, a consultant for CarMax nationally, Joe Colucci from Bowler Engineering, and John Harder from Atlantic Traffic. I think only Mr. Hertz is going to provide testimony, and perhaps Mr. Harder with regard to traffic, but the other gentlemen are here to answer any questions that may arise that the others are not able to answer. The application before the board is to rezone an 18.3 acre site, currently split zoned R10 residence and light industrial to WSI for redevelopment of the existing Smithtown concrete site immediately across the street from the senior center to a CarMax motor vehicle showroom with customary accessory uses such as repair bays, car wash, outdoor vehicle display, outdoor vehicle storage, and an interior display room in the rear. There was a prior application for a rezone to allow 260 apartments to be built on this site, along with neighboring properties on Marchant Drive. As you can see from the site plan, it's substantially smaller in size in that it does not include very much on Marchant, only a small access point, and some buffering along the westerly side of the site, right here. Furthermore, it is substantially smaller in size and density and potential impacts to the community as would have been presented by the apartment complex. Furthermore, we believe that the change of the use to a car dealership will be beneficial to the community as a whole and certainly much more attractive than the existing Smithtown concrete. We would be incorporating a lot of vegetation along the frontages and around the perimeter of the site. As you may know, the site is bordered on the east, by Montclair Avenue, to the south by Middle Country Road, and to the west by both Arthur Drive along the frontage and Marchant Drive a little further back. In regard to this matter, we've done significant community outreach to address neighbor concerns regarding the site and our development thereof. We've met on 2 occasions with a small group of neighbors to discuss site design issues relevant to their concerns, specifically with regard to landscaping and traffic concerns. And based on those meetings, we came with the design that we have in front of you right now, which incorporates a vast majority of the suggestions that were made by the community. In addition to the smaller community meetings, last winter we held a public meeting where 150 invitations were hand-delivered to neighbors surrounding the site. Don't know if we got everybody surrounding the site, but we tried. A number of people came, I believe, certainly not anything close to 150, I think it was like 11 people. Most left satisfied with our presentation and with the design of the site and the operation thereof. Most particularly among them is the traffic design, which we ensured I'm just going to go into one small element of the traffic design that we spoke with the neighbors, and then I'll let Mr. Hertz follow up with the more operational design of the site. And that is here along Marchant Drive. What we provided was for a right turns out. We're going to put a curved island in the middle of each of those 2 driveway accesses, which are going to be the points of access for the customers, so that the traffic will be forced back onto Middle Country Road and away from the residential neighbors to the north. Those were the neighbors that were the most vocal opponents of the apartments, and those neighbor comments resulted in the design that we made here today. We have submitted site plans and expanded an EAF, all of which are, and a traffic report, which are all incorporated into the record herein. And we would ask that the board grant our application. I'll now let Mr. Hertz do a brief presentation on an overview of CarMax as a whole. Yes?
Just a quick question. Did you say car wash?
Yes, but
to
not
the
for public.
not for the public.
Open to the public. Everything is going to be operationally interior. The car wash would only be for use in
Okay.
washing the cars that are going to be offered for sale or lease. And I'm going to let Mr. Hertz take over at this point.
Thanks, Tim. My name is Jake Hertz with CenterPoint Integrated Solutions. Excuse me. We deal with all of CarMax's entitlements across the country, and we've teamed with them on this project here in Smithtown. Just real quick, a couple highlights of CarMax. I'm not sure everyone's familiar with them, but CarMax is the nation's largest retailer of pre-owned automobiles. They started in Richmond, Virginia in 1993. They are now a publicly traded Fortune 500 company. They have 162 stores in the United States and about 70 major markets. And a couple of things about CarMax. One of them is something they're very proud of. For the last 12 years in a row, they have been named to Fortune's list of the top 100 companies to work for. There's a lot of things that go into that, a lot of the benefits, the salaries, the things they give to their employees keep them at the top of that list. So they really pride themselves on not only being a good employer, but also being a good neighbor. They also invest and do a lot of benefits for local communities. And I can answer more questions about CarMax if you have them, but I would like to spend the rest of my time just kind of giving a brief overview of the site. So as Tim mentioned, our main points of access are going to be off of Montclair. We have 2 entrances there. Both will be accessible via a left turn into the site. That is our main customer and employee lot, our customer parking lot, actually. Normally we have 1 customer and employee lot on this site. We're actually going to separate that. But our main customer lot will be there off of Montclair. And as Tim noted, I just want to make sure we're real clear that the exits out of those driveways will be a right turn out only. And again, that is something that was developed in cooperation with the neighbors. They expressed us very clearly they didn't want that traffic coming into their neighborhood. We heard that. There's no reason it should. So we'll be pushing that traffic outright back onto the turnpike. The large building in the middle is what you would expect. There's a showroom, presentation area where cars are checked in and out for service. We have a large service building there. And then the part sticking out up to the north is our final quality control building. It's where we do detailing, minor service to the cars, and that's also where that car wash is located. At the front of the site along the turnpike is going to be our inventory area, our sales display area. That, again, pretty self-explanatory. CarMax physically separates their inventory from the customer and employee parking, and that's what you see along the front of the site there on the turnpike. To the west of that, accessible from Marchant and Arthur Drive, is our employee parking lot. That's going to serve a couple of different functions. One is employee parking. The second is that's where all of our car carriers will come to load and unload the vehicles that are coming back and forth to the site. I also want to point out that on Arthur Drive, there is what we call a test drive gate out of the inventory area, right at the bottom there, Tim, where we make the jog. A little bit further south. But I want to point that out because that is where our test drive traffic will be coming and going from, not from Montclair. It will be coming from the opposite side of the site. All the test drives have to come and go through that gate. As you may or may not know, we cannot have actually trucks on Montclair. They're prohibited by the town bylaws. And so all of our truck traffic, again, we've pushed over to Arthur and Marchant. Large area in the back on the site plans, you'll see it labeled as sales staging area. That's simply an area where we're storing, temporary storing and staging cars that are either awaiting service or they're waiting to be placed on the inventory lot. I do want to note that that entire area is screened and secured with a 6-foot masonry wall. So it's opaque, you can't see through it. That is painted to match the building. So that's a quick overview of the site. The green space you see on the west side, adjacent to Marchant, will be used as part of our stormwater detention program. So there'll probably be some type of pond there. And then we've provided minimum 50-foot buffers on the north. I think it's a little bit bigger, adjacent to our developed area. So that's a very quick overview of the site plan. Yeah, all those car carriers will be coming and going from Arthur Drive, not Montclair.
Thank you.
And we're happy to
Oh,
answer
there'll
any
be questions, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Town board wish to be heard on this. We'll start with Deborah Zito. Wishes to be heard? Yes. Would you come up to the microphone, please?
I'm really here on behalf of my son, daughter-in-law who couldn't be here. They live right in that corner house on Browning Street. And I just wanted to know, that is that as big as that the property is going to get, because I live, excuse me, on Browning Street, excuse me, on Browns Road, and LIPA originally had a substation, which they said that was going to be a certain size, and they've since increased it at least 2 times. Now it borders the community pool where I live. And so I just wanted to know, is that as big as that's going to get?
Well, you're gonna, sir, the question is that northwest corner of the property.
No. Yeah, I believe I spoke with your daughter-in-law.
Probably, yes.
You need to talk into the mic, please.
Yeah, so I know that, I think the previous development application included some of those, what are residential lots, I believe, to the west of us, and our development application does not include that, and will not.
Does that answer your question?
Well, one other question. What are you talking about, trailers and that kind of thing of, like, dropping off cars? Where is that going to be?
So that, need a pointer. Yeah.
Take the mic out.
Oh. Still works. Okay, so Arthur Drive here. So this is the main entrance to the Smithtown Concrete store and facility now. So our access will be here for trucks, and they will be circling and unloading cars in this area and leaving the same way. So none of that is connected in any way to any of the residential around us.
This land right
Ma'am, in the
here,
microphone, please.
this land right here, that's, what is that? Who owns that now?
I believe the Smithtown Concrete Corporation owns some of that property. It is not part of our purchase contract.
So can they develop that land still?
How much is left of that? How much of the 15 acres are you using?
Well, we're using all of the 17-ish acres that we're purchasing.
Okay.
But there will remain, and I apologize because I don't know how much Smithtown Concrete still owns over there. But what you see sort of treed in this area is not part of our purchase contract, and we don't have any plans to develop it. Whether or not someone could do so in the future, that's probably a question I can't answer.
Mrs. Zito, the zone change only applies to that portion of the property that's outlined
Okay.
on the, whatever else is there doesn't come into focus here.
But it could still be developed if the,
Well, if somebody owns it, who knows? Somebody owns it into the future, yes.
But if it's rezoned, so then that could be,
That's not part of the rezoning,
oh, okay. So it would have to be talked about again.
if somebody else wanted to do that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Is this George Philippon?
Hi. I just want to, I was at the first meeting with you all in December.
Mr. Philippon, you need to address the board.
Okay, I'm just going to point to the
Okay,
board a little
sure.
bit, ask questions.
Sure.
Okay, first off, I want to know, this buffer zone right here, the green part, how wide is that, if you can reiterate that?
It's 50 feet.
And the remaining land that we just spoke of with Ms. Zito over here, that is still owned by the cement factory person who's selling the 17 acres already?
I believe he owns, the Smithtown Concrete Corporation owns some of those lots back here, not all of it. What I think I can tell you with some confidence is that the remainder of that land is all zoned residential. But I know some of it is owned by Smithtown Concrete. I'm not exactly sure which lots.
I'm just concerned, I'm talking to the board here, because if he still owns these portion of land behind CarMax, I just want to make sure there's some assurances that they're not going to put an extension to CarMax in, you know,
He can't do that
In 5
without a
years.
change of zone for that property.
okay. My other question is, car wash, car repair, car detailing, all that stuff sounds noisy. Is that all going to be in-house in the building?
Correct. All of the work, service, detailing, all of that is done inside the building. CarMax's facilities are fully conditioned facilities, and what I mean by that is they have heat in the winter and have air in the summer, so we don't have the need to keep the doors open while we're doing the work. Everything's done inside that building. Same thing, the car wash is completely enclosed.
You talked about the traffic coming in and out. I understand the car carriers are going to be coming this little portion of the parking lot. But when people are test driving the vehicles, are they going to be making a left down Middle Country Road, or are they going to be making a right down Middle Country Road? What's the mandate for that?
Sure. So CarMax will establish a test drive route for all of their stores when they open them. They will encourage that customer to exit the site by taking a right-hand turn. They would prefer not to have their customers take a left-hand turn. But what I will tell you for full disclosure is, several years ago, CarMax got feedback from their customers that said they didn't like the sales associate going on the test drive with them, so they do allow them the option to do it themselves. So we can't force them to come out and take a right, but we will provide them with a test drive map that suggests a route. And that route will always be on main roads, away from residences, but that we don't police the test drive.
But when residents complain that the clients are going the wrong way every single time because they disregard your instructions, then we can complain to CarMax. Do we have assurances from them that they'll remedy that and change that?
We would certainly be open to discussing that. Again, short of forcing our customers to take a test drive with a sales associate, there may not be a whole lot we can do about it. But we will express that to our customers, that there's no reason for them to be test driving cars in residential areas.
Mr. Philippon, you've exhausted your time. Do you need more time?
No, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else wish to be heard on this matter? If not, I'll move to close the hearing.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Hold on a second.
Well, you need to speak into the mic. We need to record it.
Please give me your name.
I just
your
have a
address,
brief.
please.
Tell us your
comment.
name, sir.
My name is Joseph Herman. I live at 9 Blackman Street in Smithtown. And I just want to know, is CarMax going to have any kinds of vehicles parked on Middle Country Road? We got a big problem with the Toyota dealer having cars parked on Middle Country Road. When you pull out of the side streets, you can't see the traffic coming down Middle Country Road.
Sure.
It blocks the vision, and it's a concern.
No, we will not have any cars parked on Middle Country Road.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. I'll move to close the hearing.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Okay, we'll now, thank you for your report.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
have a
you.
pleasant evening.
Okay. We have a third reading for the Parade Run Walk permit for the Comic Volunteer Ambulance Corporation. We have a building department report, which is on file in the clerk's office. Anybody wish to be heard against the Comac Volunteer permit? We'll move on. Town Board to authorize the clerk to advertise for the following bids. A bid for printing of a recycling calendar, a bid for mulch bags, and a bid for demolition of 2 structures on private property.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. The town board to award the following bids. A bid for installation of LED lighting fixtures to Palace Electric as per the bid opening on May 27th. A bid for requirements contract for refuse remediation from certain private properties to Wattrell Brothers as for bid opening on June 9th.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. The town board, after due study and deliberation of the subject record, issues a secret negative declaration, a determination of nation of non-significance in the following matters. Town Board's own motion to authorize the construction of improvements to the town fuel facility at the Smithtown Highway Yard and the issuance of bonds for said project. The Town Board's own motion to authorize the construction of improvements to the senior center and the issuance of bonds for said project. And C, the Town Board's own motion to authorize the construction of improvements to the animal shelter and the issuance of bonds for said project.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. The Town Board to approve the following, the minutes of the meeting of May 19th, and recreation fees for the Youth Bureau, and the rest will be issuance of serial bonds. I'll read the amounts. A serial bond of 1 through 16, $862,750. A serial bond from 2 of 16 to the issuance of $4,500. Serial bond 3 of 16, the issuance of $40,000. Serial bond 5 of 16, the issuance of $706,000, $480. Serial bond 4 of 16, issuance of $243,000. Serial bond 6 of 16, issuance of $390,000, $775. And serial bond number 7 of 16, issuance of $50,750. Serial bond 8 of 16, in the amount of $749,471. 9 of 16, issuance of $285,000 and $114. Serial bond 10 of 16, issuance of $203,000. Serial bond 11, authorizing $208,075. Serial bond 12, no, that was 11, 12. Serial bond 13, issuance of $415, $135. Serial bond 14, authorizing the issuance of $13,195. Serial bond 15, authorizing issuance of $568,537. And serial bond 16 of 16, authorizing the issue of $152,250. You want me to read the others, or do you want to just,
You call the bonds first.
you want to call the bonds, Mr. Clerk?
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Authorize the controller to increase the user fee up to 4% of the transaction amount to cover costs of the town of accepting this form of credit card payments. The town clerk to issue a parade, run walk permit to the Comac Volunteer Corps. Terminate agreement dated June 28th, 2013, with proof positive verifications for certain services. V, clear the shelter resolution to waive adoption fees on Saturday, July 23rd. W, Assessor's Office to lease a copy from Toshiba Business Solutions. Authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement. Agreement between the Town of Smithtown and the Smithtown Administrators Guild for the temporary employment of a part-time Assistant Director of Public Safety. And Y, amnesty program for all parking violations issued through January 1, 2008 to February 29, 2016 for a period of 30 days from September 1 through September 30th. You could read the rest, Tom.
Z, addition of Frank Graziano, Wilkins Delafield, and Wood appraisals as per letter G of the agenda. AA, amend 2016 capital budget for purchase of wheel loader. AB, amendment of 2016 road program to add 3 Sisters Road in St. James / Village ahead of the harbor. AC, town attorney to enter into stipulation of settlement with civil service employees for section 75 charges. AD, town attorney to enter into stipulation of settlement with civil service employees in lieu of proposed section 75 charges.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Item number 5, the town board to authorize the controller to execute the following as per 5A through I. It's transfers and increases in revenue codes.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Item number 6, the town board to authorize the supervisor to execute the following on form approved by the town attorney as per 6A through K. Interlocal cooperative agreement, amendment with CSCA benefit fund, agreement with FBF to implement an amnesty program for parking violations. D, interlocal cooperative agreement. E, lease agreement. F, agreement with Schaefer Agency to provide professional liability insurance. G, professional services agreement. H, memorandum of agreement with United States Coast Guard Sector Long Island Sound. I, agreement with Celebrity LLC. J, medical professional liability insurance to Admiral Insurance Company. And K, authorized supervisor to enter into an agreement with SHI Government Solutions to provide tax billing and collection software.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor
Yes.
Vecchio.
Item number 7, the town board to approve settlement for the following per recommendation of town attorney for $760.38.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Number 8, the town board to authorize the acceptance of the following as per 8A, B, and C. Capital One cashier's check, a donation, and cash in lieu of performance bonds.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Town board to authorize the release of the following as per 9A and B. Escrows and cash in lieu of performance bond.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Under personnel, the town board to approve the following personnel matters as per 10A through U. It'll be part-time appointments, seasonal, full-time appointments, change in status, seasonal, part-time, seasonal appointments, part-time appointments, reinstatement, full-time temporary appointment, reclassification, and full-time reclassification.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
And we have 7 read-ons to the printed agenda. And item number 1 on that particular list would be 1, return for medical leave of absence for the municipal services facility. 2, medical leave of absence for the public safety department. 3, authorize the town planning director. 3 through 7 would be grant applications. Authorize to apply for funding for the water quality protection and restoration program. 4, authorize the planning director to apply for funding to the New York State Office of Park and Recreation. 5, authorize the town planning director to apply for funding from the Environmental Facilities Corporation Green. 6, authorize the town planning director to apply from the New York State Department of State and Local Waterfront Revitalization Program. And 7, authorize the town planning director to apply for funding from the Market New York program, all per supplemental agenda items 1 through 7 as per printed.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
You want to do this one? No, you want to go back to that?
Mrs. Siskins?
You got water authority.
Water Commission, I'll do that.
First of all, I would like to agree with my neighbor from Blackman that it is a big problem trying to make a right turn out of Franklin Drive because of all the parked cars. There have been a lot of accidents, not only cars trying to leave Franklin, but also the cars that park on the street in front of Toyota on both sides of the road. There have been a lot of employees' cars smashed and destroyed by fast-moving traffic. So I think that's something also that the town board needs to look into. My main concern is that I would like to have an always stop at Blackman Street and Franklin Drive. I have talked with Mr. Crowley about this. We wrote letters back and forth in fall of 2014. He claims a lot of the signs in Smithtown are illegal, and he feels that it's not appropriate. But I am saying that cars, because there's only a stop sign heading north on Franklin, we have cars that come down Blackman, and there's no stop sign, so they fly around there, and a few times, I live at the corner of Franklin and Howell, a few times they have, when we've tried to back out, we've almost gotten hit. So I would urge you that I think this is an area that needs an always stop. I've been asking for it for a long time. Also, hopefully you've been receiving, I sent a letter to Mr. Ballone and to Mr. Cini. So hopefully I've asked Mr. Vecchio to share it with all of the members of the board.
And that was done, as I told you.
Okay, all right. So my concerns remain, and I would really like you to take a look at the situation, not just Franklin and Howell, but also at Blackman and Franklin.
Okay, thank you. I just need to comment on your first remarks regarding parks parked on Middle Country Road. As you well know, that's a New York State road, and we just can't implement no parking on state roads.
But there have been so many accidents
Well,
that have, I mean, I was at a police community meeting, and there was a woman, and I was talking about how difficult it is, and she said, oh my gosh, I worked there. It's horrible. We have to park on Jericho.
okay, anyway, I answered that part of it, and your time is up, I'm sorry.
Yes, okay. I just,
Thank you.
as always, ask for your help with these issues.
You might want to bring your,
Yeah, but you need to do it, take the mic from where you're at. Sure. You want to give him the mic, Mrs. Siskin?
you might want to call your state representatives for the state road.
Yeah, they'll do nothing.
Yeah, I've had ongoing conversations.
Yeah, I would like to just add that on Blackman Street, cars come down a hill, and lately they're racing down the hill. And there would be some logic to an all-way stop sign there, okay? Because what's happening lately is the cars come racing down the hill from Howell. They go right past Franklin, right up the block.
Okay, well, let me just address that for the moment.
Sure.
It doesn't cost very much money to put a stop sign up,
Right.
but we have to be guided by the traffic engineer who does that work pursuant to a code issued by the New York State Department of Traffic. So we just can't do and disregard those rules that are promulgated by the state of New York Traffic Division.
Yeah, well, I would only comment, I've driven around Smithtown for many years, and there have been a lot of stop signs added
Yes.
for the purpose of slowing the traffic down going through residential areas. And this is a similar situation.
Well, I think Mrs. Siskin said that she's asked for this four-way sign for a long time now,
Yes.
for three-way. And the traffic engineer will not do that. None of us are experts here to tell him how to do it. And he has a reason for doing it. He doesn't want rear-end collisions or other kinds of accidents to ensue because of that three-way stop sign.
Well, the only thing I can say is there are cars going faster than the speed limit, going down Blackman
Yes.
Street.
And you know that
And
that's
there are also car
that's a police
dealers.
enforcement matter.
Pardon me?
Speeding is a police enforcement matter.
There are car dealers testing cars on Blackman Street, okay? So there are potential accidents waiting to happen, and there are more children living on Blackman Street now than used to live here. That's all I can say.
Okay, well, thank you. sitting as a Board of Water Commissioners. The Board of Water Commissioners to approve the minutes of June 7th, of the meeting on June 7th. And the following resolutions are: Town Board to authorize the clerk to advertise for public hearing to consider the increase and improvement of facilities of the St. James Water District. Town Board to authorize the clerk to advertise for public hearing to be held at the Town Hall to consider the increase and improvement of facilities at the Smithtown Water District. And the Town Board to approve transfers in different accounts in the Water District budgets.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Okay, that concludes the meeting of the Water District. I move to close that meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
I also move.
Supervisor Vecchio,
Second.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilman Warehime,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.